Greetings, beautiful black brothers and sisters. How y'all doing today? This sister y'all just coming, have a little bit of discussion about a couple things, get y'all thinking, get the wheels churning on a few matters that affect us as a people. I had posted an article on my page that was published by Ben and Jerry, the ice cream company Ben and Jerry's. They posted an article back in August 2019. I guess they were supposed to be commemorating the 400 years that black people had, from the time we had been start being transported out of Africa into Jamestown, Virginia in 1619 and up until where we are today, 2019. And then they broke it down into 4 stages. And then they have slavery from 1619 to 1865. And then Jim Crow from 1877 to 1960. And then redlining from 1934 to 1968. And then mass incarceration from the 70s up until the present. Now you'll notice there's a 10-year gap in between slavery ended in 1865 to when Jim Crow came about in 1877. What happened was during that period is called Reconstruction. And during this period, coming right out of slavery, black people really just rose, just shot up. We're doing so well. Caught white people off guard. I guess they wasn't expecting it because they basically, when we did, get off the plantation, we left with nothing but the shirts and clothes on our backs. But we were able to still become a competitive force, particularly in the South, with white people in a very short amount of time. And that is because we built this country. All the genius, all the intellect, everything that came into building this country came out of the minds of those enslaved Africans. Whether anybody wants to, argue that point, it's a documented, well-documented historical fact that black people are the reason why America is what it is today. Not just our labor, but our intellect, our creations, our genius, everything. Okay? It's a fact. And anybody who doesn't want to accept that fact or want to deny it is just either ignorant or a hater of black people. But whatever, it is the truth. So it was easy for us coming out of slavery, even though we had nothing. Because when we left, we took everything in here with us. And we began to create. And we began to have businesses. And we became to create towns and support each other. And we were doing very well. And white people became very jealous and angry. It literally pissed them off. And they came and they destroyed it. And then they began to create laws to suppress that, to stop that from happening. They did not want, they were very envious and jealous of how quickly we were rising and competing with them, and they didn't want it. And so they made a concerted effort from that period up until now to stop it and to hold us down. And as you know, it still goes on today. Even with the so-called civil rights laws that they try to put into place. I mean, it's all a game because they still do something else to go around that. And then when they so-called put in another one to try to make a prediction, then they find some other way to go around that. And it's going to continue. It's not going to stop because they don't ever want to give you equal standing, because they know that on an equal playing field, giving all things being equal, black people are going to go like this. And it's just that we're going to shoot to the top. They know it. It's just a fact. So they can't allow it. They can't allow you to be on equal footing with them because they know in every sector, in every way, you're going to surpass them. So in this article, and I'll try to remember to post the link so that you all can read it. But they go on to talk about how we're still being affected to this day, and all the things that were sanctioned by the government that were done, put in place to keep black people suppressed and economically oppressed. So, from moving from that article to a couple weeks ago, Professor Claude Anderson was on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne the God and those guys. And he said a few things that were very interesting. And if you haven't watched that interview, I suggest that you do that, because he gave a warning to Black people, and you need to listen. You need to really, really listen. What Dr. Claude Anderson said, and I quote, "We're in a very dangerous situation in this country. As Black folks, we're in a very dangerous situation in this country as Black folks, and this next year is going to be our last year to get out of it." He said the sole purpose of slavery was to socially engineer Black people into the lowest level of a real life monopoly game. They distributed almost 100% of the nation's land resources, rights, businesses, privileges, and controls of all levels of government into the hands of the dominant white society. Black folks don't even have a snowball's chance of becoming competitive people. You might be able to struggle for another 2 or 3 years, but it's going to wipe you out pretty soon. We came out of slavery having 0.5% of this nation's wealth, and here we are over 100 years later, and we still only have 0.5% of the wealth. So he's giving a warning to Black people that the situation is becoming really dire, and it's basically to the point where it can't be. We can't catch up. We can't rectify it. You know, I know some people will say, "Oh, well, what about Jay-Z and Beyonce and you know?" Okay, they don't represent the vast majority of the 40 million Black people in this country. That's a few people. The vast majority of Black people are struggling. They are. That working class proletariat group, they're struggling to survive. Okay? They don't have real wealth. We're talking about real wealth. Something that your children will have when you are gone. Okay? This is what they kept us out. And they have kept us in that working class to keep the system going and working for them. And that brings me to a whole nother point. White people don't want to pay you. They don't. Okay? They don't want to pay you. They have no desire to pay you. That should be pretty obvious. Okay? These people, when they enacted minimum wage laws and the standard of living started going up in America, and you know, people start having unions and demanding more money and all this stuff, what do these companies do? They pack up and they go to China, or they go to Haiti, where they can pay people 25 cents an hour or something ridiculous. Or they'll go to Vietnam or Taiwan or somewhere and get people to work for them for little of nothing. Because the goal of capitalism is to maximize profits. They don't want to pay for labor. If they could enslave you again, they would do it. If they could do it, if they thought there was a way they could do it, they would do it. Because they don't want to pay for labor. Okay? And this is another reason why Black people need to wake up, because I just posted another article where they're talking about automation is going to take over jobs. This one was published in, this article was published October this year. And it said artificial intelligence is slated to disrupt 4.5 million jobs for African Americans who have a 10% greater likelihood of automated-based job loss than other workers. So basically, did y'all see the article about a Walmart now bringing in robots to do the janitorial stuff, to buff and do the floors and all this stuff? These people are trying to find a way to not pay. They still want their capitalist system to work, but since they have to pay you, they haven't figured out a way how to not pay you. They will bring in artificial intelligence to do the work. So now you're going to lose those jobs. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And they're projecting that we're going to lose Black Americans. I ain't talking about nobody else. They're saying we're going to be hit the hardest. Black American jobs held, 4.5 million jobs held by African Americans by 2030 are going to be wiped out. That's in 10 years, guys. 10 years. So even think about this. If you have a 10, 11, 12-year-old, 15-year-old child, in 10 years, they're going to be trying to enter the workforce. Where are the jobs going to be? Because these people are looking for machines to do jobs so that they don't have to pay humans. So we have to start coming up with a plan for ourselves as a people. And this is where the Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Program comes in. That's the plan, guys. The plan is, let's pull our little resources that we have and start repatriating our people back to the continent of Africa and setting up businesses for ourselves so that we can have something for our children and our grandchildren, and we can come out of this economic oppressive wreck that we've been held in and begin to create real wealth for ourselves and our families and our children. Okay? I'm asking you to join us, become a donor. The link to the Patreon is in the description. Okay? Share it. Tell people about the Sankofa Repatriation. We're in, according to Dr. Claude Anderson, we're in a do or die situation here. You know, I don't know what he said. If we don't do something he said that next year is basically our last year to try to correct it. Nothing's gonna happen in the next 12 months over here. It's just not. I mean, you're in denial if you think it is. So you best start thinking about what else to do, because according to him, Dr. Claude Anderson, it's a wash over here. Okay? So that's my message to you today, family. Think on it. Like I said, I'm going to put a link down to the articles that I mentioned. Make sure you check out that interview with Dr. Claude Anderson on The Breakfast Club as well. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button. Become a Patreon. Tell others about the Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Program. And make sure you turn your notifications on so you know when I post a new video. Thank you for listening to me. Enjoy the rest of your day, and Happy New Year. Okay? Have some fun tonight. All right? Love y'all. Peace. Bye-bye.